hello and anything for the group.
Hi, hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. All right, so here's what we're going to cover today as we next 4 hours with you. We're going to talk a little bit about Life Group and how we fit in the 403B market space and why we feel that we have a lot to offer when it comes to helping these folks with their retirement needs. We're going to talk about the opportunity, or as we've titled it here, the educator retirement crisis. We're going to cover the 403B 457 markets in depth, kind of walk through what those look like, what the vehicle is for you, and then talk about the products that we offer as that choice selects National Life Group. And then obviously agent resources, what's out there for you. So once you leave this training, what's available and how you can help navigate a ton of information out there, not only from a National Life Group perspective that we already have built for you, but there's a lot of third-party information that's available. So we'll want to cover that. That's the first section. You'll spend most of that with me. And then the last portion is our slot management. Gabe will take over and walk you through what it looks like from a National Life Group perspective. All slot management is basically plans that we're in, what that looks like. And then certainly we're always looking to grow and add and become part of other groups' plans that we're not in currently. So Gabe will walk you through both of those situations and how to navigate those. We'll talk about some compliance and suitability things with you, and then we'll end the steps to success. Okay. We do know this is 4 hours. It is a long training. And so again, the goal is to hopefully provide you with a lot of information, but not only that, the resources and tools that are available for you. One of those, hopefully you received prior to attending, that when you signed up, you should have gotten an email with quite a few attachments and PDFs for this class. We'll cover and we'll note those as we go through the training today as Gabe and I talk. We'll call out some of those pieces to you so you have those. And then we'll certainly provide you, even after the class, some additional information for you to be able to, again, help you so you just don't walk away and feel like, okay, I went through that training. Now what? We want to continue to provide you the tools. Throughout this training, again, we're going to cover a lot, so you're going to have questions. So a couple ways to do it. I've got it up on the screen for you. If you want, send an email to trainer@nationallife.com. I'll leave this up for a little bit so you can copy it down. And Gabe will be looking at that email box, and certainly if you have any questions, we will take and pause and make sure we answer all those. So if you've got some questions, you can do it that way. Or you've got the ability to unmute yourself. So if you've got a question as we go over something, please feel free to interrupt me. This training's all about you. The more you can learn at it, the more comfortable you feel, the more successful you'll be from a 403B 47 market space. And as I say, your success is our success. So that's really what we want to make sure is you go get the most out of this training. So please feel free to utilize both of those, either the email address, if that's more comfortable for you, or certainly feel free to unmute yourself and ask whatever question you have as we're covering the content, okay? So with that, I'll get going. And actually, before I do, sorry, just want to make sure, the information that you see up on your screen today, we will absolutely send that out to you after the fact. So feel free, take notes. I know when Gabe and I do this in live, I always enjoy the cell phones that are out taking pictures of the screen from that aspect. You can certainly do that, but one of the things we've heard through past trainings is you guys would love this presentation. So absolutely, I mentioned that email after the fact with some additional resources. One of the things that will be included in that is this presentation for you. So you will have all these slides emailed after this presentation, okay? So if you didn't get that email that I mentioned earlier that you should have received prior to this training with the attachments, trainer at National Life Group, we have a dedicated trainer. His name's Damian Adams. He helped create this for us. Feel free to reach out to that mailbox and let him know that you didn't see that email. We'll suggest first take a look at your spam box. Sometimes they fall in there and go there first. But if you didn't get that email with all the attachments that I referenced, feel free also to reach out to that trainer@nationallife.com email box. Let them know you didn't get the material prior to attending this class. Confirm your email address for us if you wouldn't mind, and then we'll certainly get that out so you can have the material that you should have had prior to this also. With that, I'll pause. Any questions or anything before we get going into the.
Quick question. Well, I need to go ahead and print those forms. My computer literally crashed getting online,
Okay.
literally. So I'm trying to fix it, but I'm on my cell phone watching a presentation. Is that okay, or do I need to just reschedule?
No, sir, absolutely. No, understand the
Okay.
technology challenges from that aspect. So um, they happen. Certainly understand. So no, if you get back,
Okay.
that's fantastic. We don't. I'll put in quotes lock the door. So if you do happen to drop, feel free to dial back in and get back in to finish the presentation. So no worries.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to fix the computer now. Thank you.
Yeah, if you do it just
Thank
on
you.
your phone the whole time, that's perfectly fine too.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So we'll dive into it. So we're going to start kind of with an introduction to National Life Group. And for those who are new to National Life Group, one of the things you'll really hear us talk about is what I call our three pillars: our mission, vision, and value. And hopefully for those agents who have been with National Life Group for a while, you kind of have heard these probably quite a few times. But the reason they keep coming up and the reason we start with this is when you start looking companies to partner with, especially when it comes to a 403B and 457 plan. You, your employees and these clients want to know that they're with a company that's there today, has been there in the past, and certainly is going to be there in the future, right? We're talking about retirement with these folks, and some of them just started in as a teacher, as an employee, and they've got 30, 40 years to work. And so knowing the company that they're going into is going to be there as stable is extremely crucial. And so you can see, and I won't read them, but one of the things you'll hear us say a lot is our values: do good, be good, make good. We carry that forward, and as we go through this presentation and some of the things we'll talk about that we do to support you, to support the employees in our plans, they all revolve around really these three pillars of bringing peace of mind, keeping our promises, and doing good, being good, making good. We just don't want to offer a product and that's it, and that's all we're known for. We want to be so much deeper than that, because if we are more of a presence and they view National Life differently, that's a win for you. And you'll hear Gabe and I talk about this quite a bit through his presentation. When it comes to 403B and 457 plans, a lot of these are not single vendor. We are not the only vendor in that plan. There's 4, 5, 20, 30 potentially different companies who are vying for that employee's dollar, going into the districts or into these municipalities, asking for time and the opportunity to speak to their employees. You got to differentiate yourself. And we try to help that way by employing and making sure we keep true to our mission, vision, and values. So you'll hear those quite a bit, and you'll kind of hopefully see those throughout the presentation of not only how these are just not just words on the paper, but we try to live. Okay. As I mentioned, keeping our promises, right? We are making guarantees potentially 20, 30, 40 years down the road. And so you want to know that the company you're putting that money with is a really strong company, is going to be there. So you can see the kind of the top line is our financial strength ratings. And you can see all of the independent rating agencies have A plus, or A2, all very good or strong from that standpoint. Gabe, keep me honest. I think AM Best recently came out and reaffirmed our ratings.
That's
Maybe
correct.
it was AM Best. Thank you, Gabe. And I think that is extremely impactful, because a month ago, we are in the midst of the coronavirus. Life had changed. And certainly there's a lot of things being looked at. And what these rating agencies do is they look at the way companies manage their money, their balance sheets, and AM Best, even through this pandemic, came in and reaffirmed our rating. So I think that's a really strong story if you're sitting down with a plan that maybe doesn't know who National Life is, right? We don't advertise, we're not on a blimp, we're not on stadiums. Um, and so you may have to talk to them a little bit about who National Life is and what we do. That I think is a really impactful statement to know that one of the independent rating agencies through this pandemic has reaffirmed our rating. Okay. And I'll really point, I won't go through all the numbers, but I'll point to the last one of the 2.5 billion in promises kept. Again, go back to those three pillars: mission, vision, and values. We want to be there for our employees and our clients today and in the future. And so we're really proud of the fact that we have paid out. That's a payout number. We have paid out more than 2.5 billion, either through our life insurance or our fixed index annuities that we'll talk more about today in promises kept. Okay. And then you can see on the left-hand side that just popped up, we are committed to the 403B 457 market space. We've been in it a long time. We have a lot of resources, and again, we'll cover those a little later today, because we are committed to this space.
Just come over and check it out.
Two folks on this
Fucking idiot.
call. Sorry, if you're not on mute, if you wouldn't mind muting yourself unless you got a question. Gabe and I are part of the retirement service team, which is a team dedicated to the 403B 457 market space. So this is all we do. But you can see we are now the number one provider of fixed index annuities and employer sponsored plan, and the longest standing issuer of fixed indexed annuities in employer sponsored plans. So we certainly have a big presence out there when it comes to this market space. Okay. And again, as I mentioned, we want to try to provide advantages for you, because you're not going to be the only one potentially going into these plans. There's going to be other agents from other companies who are going to want to get in front of that employee. The employee may have talked to 3 or 4 different folks. So how we try to help you is through all of these, right? We just talked about the financial strength. We've got products, which we'll cover a little bit later today, that we think are extremely competitive and innovative, that can allow you to maybe differentiate yourself from maybe some of the other products or offerings in their plan. We provide agent and client support. Obviously, this is one of the things we do is provide a certified training for you to make sure we help you navigate this and you fully understand it. Because the last thing we want you to do is start working in this space and you're just starting to get some momentum and you make a misstep. That can set you back. Hopefully we can help you navigate that. That allows you to go up that curve a little faster. And then this training, I mentioned the certified training. One of the things that we offer is our certified badge. So I'll walk through how you get that, and you can kind of see it on the right-hand side. It is a physical badge with your picture on it. And again, this is really nice because guess what? When you go into these plans, you can present this and tell them, you know what? I represent National Life Group, and you'll see it on the first bullet point. I've attended a 403B 457 training. Okay? If we were doing this in person, it really is an all-day training. We obviously, because we're virtual, didn't want to spend a full day with you. We know that's extremely challenging. So it's 4 hours right now. But this is an intensive class, and we're going to cover a lot of information. So you've attended you've kind of taken the first step. You've attended the 403B 457 certified class. The second to get the badge is you have to write, in that very last bullet point, write 5 flowing annuity applications within 12 months. Once you accomplish those, and you can check the attend the class as of the one today, once you write the 5 flow annuity apps, we're going to reach out to you and ask for that headshot that you see there on the right, and we will produce that badge. Okay. And it allows you to be able to go into plans and say, look, I've gone through a very rigorous program with National Life Group. They actually hold a training dedicated to this space. Along with that, I have helped other employees just like the ones in your plan or your district be able to put together a retirement plan and get them going on the path to have a successful retirement. And so those are the 2 criteria. And Rudy, I see your hand raised. I'll get to you in just a second. I apologize. Let me cover one more thing, and then I'll open it up to you. You'll see the 5th bullet point. Along with certified training, we put on a number of other webinars and trainings to kind of help you. This is a really good foundation, but again, it's 4 hours. It's a lot of information, and you may be sitting there a day or 2 from now going, you know what, they mentioned this about the 403B, and you're trying to recall it. So every month, and I'll cover this when I talk about agent resource, I'll actually show you where the calendar is. We put on various different classes. They're all either 30 minutes or an hour. They're not near as intensive as this, to help you navigate 403B, 457s, track which software, ideas in the 403B market, our products. And so I strongly encourage all of you to take a look at that webinar calendar and sign up for these. They're just going to be able to go a little bit deeper than what we can go today, and hopefully really provide you the comfort and knowledge so when you start working in this space, really can start making a really big impact. I'll pause there. Rudy, I saw you, it popped up my screen, you raised your hand. Did you have a question or did you send that to Gabe?
No, I got a question, and I apologize. You're on page 5 and I'm on 7. I'm looking at the flow annuity applications. Is that within a school district or just 5 flow applications with businesses or anything else?
Great question. It is in the 403B 457 market space, and it does have to be flow. It just can't be rollover money. And I'll caveat too, for those who, because I get this is usually a follow-up question, what if I've already written 5 flow apps? Fantastic, you've already met that criteria. We will absolutely look back and see if you've already written 5 flow annuity apps, and if you have, you can check that one off, and we'll be reaching out to you actually really soon to get that headshot for a batch. So we'll take into account past business from a flow annuity standpoint, but it does need to be 403B 457. Great question. While I'm there, any other questions, Gabe? Anything come in the email box that you want to cover?
No, just a couple of people saying that they didn't get their packet and we've got them submitted out. So we're ready to go.
Perfect. Fantastic. All right. So here is the upcoming webinar. So I mentioned those additional ones. So you can see actually tomorrow, we've got the 403B playbook. So again, that's a really nice resource that kind of condenses everything into one, what we call playbook or manual to help you. You can see there's product, Life Change of the Year, which Gabe will certainly cover. That's a fantastic program. It's a way we give back. Again, do good, be good, make good. So we'll certainly cover that. And then looks like early next week, one of our newest classes that we have, and we'll try to touch on this because life today is very different than what it was 2, 3, 4 months ago, where you could go on and physically go into a business and start interacting in person with the employees. That's changed. So we've developed this new class called Engage Virtual Business Training. So this will give you tools and ideas to be able to still connect with folks virtually. There's a lot of technology out there, right, that we can use. We're doing that today via Zoom. I've got, looks like 87 folks probably throughout the entire country joining us to do this. So there's really great technology out there. So that's a new class to hopefully give you some ideas and tips on how to navigate, even though that everybody's spread out and it's virtual and no one, if you're working in schools, is actually physically there, you still can have a really big impact and still connect with folks, okay? So those are just the 4 upcoming ones. So as you can see, when it comes to your business, we've got a lot of support. You've got your field leaders, client partners, retirement services, training, there's tools, products, and certainly the opportunity. So again, the goal is not to go through this training and hopefully you feel like, okay, I'm on my own. You've got a lot of support with National Life Group to help you grow your business. Okay? So that's National Life Group, a little bit about it. I'm going to transition now into why we think this is a really great market space and why there's a great opportunity out there. It's titled The Educator Retirement Crisis. I think it's an opportunity for you guys, and if you can understand it, and we'll kind of cover it, you can really take advantage of it because you can educate these employees on why they want to save for retirement. Okay? So one of the most common objections you're going to get when you sit down with an employee of a school district or a municipality and you start talking about saving for retirement, they're going to tell you, I've got a pension plan. And you know what? Yeah, they're right. They do have a pension plan, but that pension plan is not what we think of pension plans 30 years ago. And so educating them and get them to understand Yes, you do, but let me actually show you what it, because it's not going to get there, right? Most people and most studies look at you need in retirement 80% of your paycheck. I can tell you on average, based on numbers, a teacher walking in today who's just starting their career in a school system, their pension plan will probably only fund 40 to maybe 50 or 60% of their pay, more closer probably to the 40. So that's a pretty big gap. That pension plan is not going to get them to 80 anymore. It's going to get them to 40 or 50. They've got to do something to close that gap. And that means funding their retirement through vehicles like a 403b, 457. So getting them to understand that can really help you overcome that objection. So what I've got in front of me is a map, and I'm going to play it because it kind of goes through the years, but we're going to start at 2001 and I'll kind of walk you through the colors. So on this screen is basically each state's pension plan. And what it shows is anyone on green, doesn't matter the green color. What that says is when the state looks at their pension obligations, what they are required to pay out, do they have enough money put aside to meet all those obligations? So the green means yes, right? They've got 100% or more of the obligations covered. They're well funded. You start getting into the yellows and oranges, nope, they're below 100. You get into the reds, they're significantly below, which means the obligations they have, they are nowhere near being able to meet all those. Okay. So let me walk you through and show you what it looks like year over year. That's the most recent data we have is 2016. Pretty eye-opening, right? I'm sure you probably focused on the state you're in or just a couple. What you see, right? The funding levels changed every year. We're in 2016, and I don't see a single green state in there. And so these states have to figure out, okay, if they've got all these obligations that are guaranteed based on what their pension says, they've got to figure out ways to make up that shortfall. Because you can see, based on 2016, they all have a shortfall. The way they do that is they may increase the number of years an employee has to work. They may, a lot of them have multipliers. They may drive down that multiplier. And so again, someone coming in today, when their pension is fully funded, they may only see 40 to 50% of their pay instead of 70 or 80, like someone who may have been working 20, 30, 40 years ago. So that's why I say it's a great foundation. Because yes, you know what? They do have a pension. And there's a lot of people out there that don't. But that's not going to get you there. Okay. The other thing you see, and when I played it, right, every state changed. So constantly having to look at their pension and try to figure out how to balance that budget. That's out of the employee's control. So an employee may walk in and have a certain pension calculation today, but heaven forbid, 4, 5, 6 years down the road, their state is dramatically in the red and they have to make changes. Well, they just don't always grandfather people in. They may change that employee's pension and now they have to work even longer, or they're not going to get as much because of the changes. They can't control the retirement. And that's the beauty about a 403b and 457. It is their money they're putting in, they're controlling it, they get the choice of the investment. And so really it's talking about you want to control your retirement. You don't want to leave it up to the state, because if you look at this map again, right, doesn't look like states are very good at managing money based on what I can see. And I'll play this again and I'll kind of talk you through this and walk you through why I personally am a little concerned. So we know in 2008, right, the market crashed. We saw a significant market downturn, right? Hence 2009, you can see significant impact from the state's pension. But since about 2010, up until about 2018, we have been in the longest bull market in the history of the market performance. So you would think from 2010 to 2016, because of the recovery, most of these should be green. They're not, right? So to me, States aren't the best at managing their budgets, so don't let them dictate your retirement. Okay, really great resource. If you want to go to this map, it's actually out there. It's on reason.org, and you can kind of see the logo down in the bottom right. Reason.org. That's where you can actually find this map and be able to kind of show it and use it. Okay, but that's the problem. But that also presents the opportunity because pensions change, and most of these folks are going to have to work like all of us 30, 40 years. It may change quite a bit. So don't let that be the only source of income because or retirement, because A, it's not going to get you there. And B, it may change. Control your retirement. That's the opportunity if you can get these employees to understand it. Okay. One of the things we provide, and this was a PDF in the email that you received before the class, we have a brochure called Save for a Better Tomorrow. Okay. And in that brochure, on the very last page is what you see that just kind of came towards you on the screen. We actually put every state and the website you can go to get the pension information. That's the really nice part. You can Google, whether you live in California, Colorado, Texas, Ohio, doesn't matter. You can go onto Google and type in California Teacher Retirement System. Hit go, it'll come up with CalSTRS. Same thing in Florida, FRS. If you don't have to do that, we actually have all the websites there in that document for you. But strongly encourage you, go there. Download their pension plan. Every single one of site may look a little different, but all of them have what they call publications. And in that publications is their state pension plan. And it spells out everything you need to know. And that can separate you. You're walking into these plans, there's 5 or 6 other vendors, you're asking for time to meet with these employees. The way you can do that is by differentiating what you do. This is a great way, right? That employee you sit down with may feel they've got a pension, ask a question. You don't have to memorize a thing. Trust me, for those folks in California, I think that bad boy is about 200 plus pages. It's a beautiful read. Trust me, you'll get through it in a day. It's easy from that aspect, but don't read it cover to cover. You don't have to. They all have glossary. They all have table of contents. They all have an appendix. So even if you get a question, as long as you bookmarked it or you have it, you can flip through that and say, no, actually, here's how it works based on when you start. Here's the information. Here's how your pension is actually set up. That gets you to then be able to then have the conversation of, you know what, you probably need to save more for your retirement. Let's talk about creating a plan for it. Okay. So knowing how your state pensions work really can provide you and differentiate you when you meet with these employees. And here's why. And this is why we keep touching on helping to educate these folks. When we look at the workers in this who have and don't have retirement savings, believe it or not, 7 out of 10 have 0 retirement savings. They haven't saved a thing. Okay. The other one is those who work with and have agents assist them report a higher satisfaction, 72 to 54% in their 403B, and confidence in their retirement goals. So this shows they need education because without it, they don't do anything. They freeze. And they need you, right? So the more you can not only just talk National Life Group, here's the product, but educate them, help them understand it, the more likely you're going to get a yes. Okay. And you'll see the last stat, one of the third-party companies out there called National Tax Deferred Savings Association, you'll hear also referred to as NATSA. They went out and surveyed all the 403Bs and looked at what we call participation rate, which is basically how many employees on average save in the 403. And you can see it's 27%. Think about that. 27% of all employees are put in a 403B plan. That's nationwide. Again, opportunity, right? Because if Gabe and I, and you work with us, and you'll learn more about this when we go to that slot management section, but if you work with us and we point you in a direction of a plan, let's say it's got 100 people, right? Isn't that a great opportunity knowing on average 27% of employees are saving. That means in that plan with 100 people, more than 70 probably aren't saving. To me, that's a great prospecting opportunity, right? Because most of them aren't. And so that's, again, an opportunity to be aware of that. Unfortunately, not a lot of folks are saving. And so what can you do to help drive that? And that's a win too when it comes to, again, meeting it with kind of the superintendent of the administration and asking for help. If you can help increase the participation rate in these plans, that, because that is part of the requirement to offer a 403b 427 is making sure people are aware of it and taking advantage of it. And you can help do that. Okay. One of the other things that we offer, and this again is in your packet that you got earlier, there's a flyer called Track in there. We actually partnered with a third-party company to offer a software that you can use. And because you attended today's training, it is free for a year. You can see down in the bottom left, it typically costs almost $1,000 a year. We're giving it to you free for attending certified. You will get the link and how to sign up and get that 1 year free. That will be part of that communication after this training. But basically what Track does, and this is fantastic, is there's really two that you can use. One is a paycheck analysis. What that is if you can get the employee's paycheck, you can plug all that information in. And it's really nice because one of the other objections you're going to get is it's hard for me to save. I don't have the ability to save. So you got to help them maybe find the money. By analyzing their paycheck, you may be able to find some money to get them saving today, right? We know, unfortunately, teachers are not the most well compensated, but using this may be able to help them see that, you know what, there is an opportunity, or I can afford to put, even if it's a little bit, I'm starting today, I'm putting money away. The second is the pension analysis. So I just mentioned every state has a pension plan, right? What this software does is it actually goes out and pulls in each state's pension plan. And you can plug in the employee's information and their start date. As I mentioned, the plan may be different for someone who's been there 10 years versus someone starting today. It knows, so based on their start date, it'll pull in the right pension information and basically show what that looks like. And that's that kind of that top chart that you see on the right-hand side. That blue bar is what they have for savings now with their pension. That red bar is the gap. They need to close that gap. How do they do that? They need to take control of the retirement and put money away in a 403b. So really great resource for you. Again, you guys have got it. I did mention, and I'll add this too, that we are providing a 1 year free for you. If you're using it, we will continue to automatically renew it for you. Okay. So at the end of the year, we will look and take a look at everybody and say, did they or did they not use Track? For those who are using it and find it beneficial, the last thing we want to do is take it away and hurt your business. We will continue to renew that. Okay. If you aren't, that's fine. Because we have limited certificates with them, we will remove that after the year and hopefully give that to somebody who will use it. But all of you guys have got it. Really great resource. Again, one of the webinars that I mentioned earlier, that's an additional resource, is a Track training. That's held once a month. Strongly encourage you, if you're interested in using this software and learning more about it, attend that one. It really will walk you through all the nuances, how to produce these reports, and then really be able to sit down and show the employee what it looks like right now in their retirement. Okay. So as you can see, the goal as throughout this is there's a great opportunity, but you got to educate them and help them get there, right? And so the way to do that is knowing what that state pension looks like, right? Either going to the website, utilizing Track then to find that income gap, determine what the right savings amount is, and then ultimately talk about what the solution is that you're offering to help get them where they want to go. Okay. So that's the educator crisis. That's sitting in front of you. I'll pause. Any questions anybody has? Gabe, anything come in on the email box?
No, nothing and pertinent to that. So we're cruising good.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Feel free, please. unmute yourself if you'd like.
Yeah, I've got a question. How do we register for these seminars? You've got one coming up tomorrow. You just mentioned the track, and I'm Andrew Giacomini in Colorado.
Hi, Andrew. I will show you. So on our National Life website, and we'll cover that. I'll actually show you exactly where the trainings are, but you just go into our agent portal, nationallife.com, and our webinar calendar, you can sign up right there for all. And I'll walk you through that here coming up shortly.
Are we going to get this presentation? Are you recording the training and are we getting the slides or should we be taking notes?
We're not recording, but we do and we'll send out these slides after the training. So yeah, feel free to take notes if you'd like, but if you miss something, no worries. You will get this entire deck at the end of the training.
I do have a question.
Yes,
For
ma'am.
the TRS website, is that for all districts within Texas, or does it vary from district to district?
Great question. No, it's state. So any of the school districts or municipalities, you know, how the state sets it up, that's what they all fall under from that standpoint. So for Texas, for example, yep, all the school districts under that, the employees from a teacher standpoint fall under that TRS program.
So it has nothing to do with their TPA.
Correct. No, the TPA is more on the 403B 457 side.
Mhm.
That's where they get involved. The pension is the state level.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question.
I have a question. So I'm new to this. So earlier in the presentation, you mentioned something about 5 flow contracts. What do you mean by flow?
So flow basically means salary reduction, and we'll cover this here in a second, but it needs to be set up where they're putting money away on a monthly basis flowing into that policy. So it's not just one time they put money in like a rollover. They need to continually be putting money in on a monthly basis into that policy.
So basically, if you move them from someplace else, let's say another company to here, it's not just a matter of the rollover, it's a continuous flow of new income or new money.
Correct. Yeah. You'll want to contributions, right? You'll want to make sure and set them up. And we'll cover that here in a second through the salary reduction to have money go into that policy on a monthly basis.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Great questions. Rudy, I see you raised your hand. Feel free.
So on flow, payroll deduction, you know, this goes back to my original question. This is with municipalities or school districts. What if you have a construction company with flow premium?
We look, because this training is all around the 403B 457. We do look only at the 403B 457. So you may have like IRAs flowing, but this, because we want you to be experienced talking to someone in a 403B or 457 type of plan. So we look at that type of policy.
Okay, so to go in and talk to a school district, how accessible are people in Colorado to walk in with you so you can get your 5?
We'll cover that this afternoon, actually. Gabe's going to later today. Gabe will cover that, absolutely, because it does vary. And so we'll cover all those nuances this afternoon, later today. Great questions. Okay, so we just covered, and feel free, again, please feel free to interrupt me if you've got a question, you think of something, more than happy to stop and make sure I answer y'all's questions. So we've kind of teed up what the opportunity is, right? All right, so we know they need to save. We know they need to control the retirement. What is it that they need to put the money into? And that is the 403B 457, right? Those are the vehicles. IRS code created a 403B and 457. So let's talk about, before we kind of dive in, of what those look like and how they operate. Some of the common truths and false information that we see. Gabe and I have been doing this a long time, and we hear different things about, hey, as a 403B this, I hear a 457 can do this. So just kind of have you walk you through a couple true and false things. The first is a 403B 457 has to be an employer-sponsored plan, right? An individual just can't open up a 403B or 457 for themselves. They have to be aligned with an entity or a group that is allowed to offer a 403b, 457. We'll cover that here in a second, okay? In the 403b and 457, what they're allowed to invest in, and this is based on IRS, the way it was set up, is they're allowed to invest in annuities and what they call custodian account, mutual funds, okay? So the 403b and 457 is the type of plan that they can put money into. They have to decide, okay, I'm putting money in a 403b. What is the actual vehicle? National Life Group, we offer fixed indexed annuities. That's where they would actually put the money into, okay, under that 403b or 457. One of the things we hear too, because we offer an indexed annuity, is the premium is locked up and not accessible. You may hear that or get that objection. And we'll kind of go through this. That's not true. There are ways to be able to access your money in a fixed index annuity. We'll cover that when we talk about products, okay? In these plans, most of them only offer employee contributions, okay? So that's the primary way these are funded, is through the employee putting money away in their own 403b or 457. There can be an employer contribution. It's pretty rare, especially when it comes to like school districts, but that can happen. But be aware, and we'll cover it. What the employee can put away is different from what the employer can match, okay? Just covered this. An employee, when they put money away in a 403b or 457, it has to come out salary reduction, which that's a good thing, actually, if you think about it. They can't write a check out of their savings or bank account. It's got to come out of their paycheck, similar to how they pay maybe medical, dental, things like that. Again, that's nice because guess what? Once they start, it's that out of sight, out of mind, right? Because money's coming out of their paycheck and they're really not feeling it. Unlike a bank or a checking account, right, where we can pull that up and we see every month $50 going out to here, $50 going out to there again. They may be more apt, just psychology, if something comes up, to stop it. So it's actually really nice, but the money's got to come from salary reduction. We'll walk through that, how that works, how you get them set up to have that money come out of the salary reduction. Okay. And then last, every plan has to have a plan document established. Gabe will cover this more a little bit later, but to offer a 403b, 447 plan back in 2008, the IRS changed the rules and require what we call a plan document to be created. Basically, what I call a plan document, it's the who, what, when, where, and how of the plan, okay? So for an entity to offer it, who's eligible for it? Is it just employee contributions, or do they match with the employer? Are they allowed loans? Are they allowed this feature, that feature? That's the plan document, okay? It spells out everything, which is really nice because that allows us to know what's going on in the plan. And you, as you work in this, it's usually a really good practice to maybe get a copy of that plan document, because it can help you know what they have and don't have. For example, the last thing you want to do is start talking to an employee about loans, and guess what? The plan doesn't allow it, okay? So it's good to know that information, and so that's what a plan document is. So every entity has to establish a plan document for offering a 403b, 457, okay? So here's who can offer a 403b and a 457. So left-hand side, 403b, churches, 501c, not for profit, okay? Right-hand side, 457s, state level governments, police, fire, government hospitals. Believe it or not, that middle section, public colleges, universities, schools, can actually offer both. They can offer a 403b and a 457 to their employees, okay? It's the only group that can offer both. You can see churches, not-profit, only 403b, municipalities, government hospitals, only 457, okay? So those are the groups that can establish a 403b or 457. And Gabe will cover this, and you'll see, and I'll let you know. So we're in about 6,500 plans nationwide, okay? Most are in K-12. And you'll hear and you'll see that because a lot of what we show you is centered around districts and schools. But we operate and have plans in every single one of these different entities. So if you want to focus on churches, great. We can help you with that. Actually, Gabe's on the call. I'm extremely fortunate to have Gabe. Not only is he part of Retirement Services, but he's also a pastor for one of the local churches here in Texas. And he's done a fantastic job building out our library of material. for those agents who do have and want to focus on churches. And so if you've gotten, Gabe, I'm sorry, because I'm sure you're going to get calls because I do this all the time too after certified. But if it's an area you want to work, again, I'm extremely fortunate to have Gabe as part of the team. He can absolutely navigate that because he lives it every day, being part and being a pastor of his church. I'll pause. I think I saw someone raise their hand. Is there a question?
Yes, hi. When you say the 403B for the churches and the 501c3, are you referring to all members who are a member of the congregation or only to the executive directors or board of directors or the pastors?
Great question. It may vary. And again, that's why you want to know the plan document, because a plan document may spell out who is all eligible for that plan. So I have seen it, and Gabe, keep me honest, it can vary based on what the plan document and how it's created on who they want to be eligible to participate in that 403B.
Yeah, that is correct. Because they have the ability to select those particular persons that they will allow to participate in that 403B, it could vary per those particular ministries or churches. So you would definitely want to speak to them to that regard. Or if they are initiating the actual 403B and they're trying to find out how they're going to go forward, that's some information that you can provide for them also.
Where can we get the plan document?
So you can go to the entity you want to work. They typically have a copy of it, or, and someone mentioned this, we'll cover a little bit later. There's what's called TPA's, third-party administrators, who help administer and create these plan documents for it. You can leverage the third-party administrator too to potentially get it. Okay. Usually in any of these plans, right, someone's in benefits, human resources, they usually have a working knowledge of what the plan is because they're helping take the money out. They're trying to provide some education. So that's a great place to start. Gabe will certainly cover that a little bit later with you guys. So
And I'm sorry, I missed the gentleman who were supposed to, that we could email for more additional information on the church 503, C organizations.
Yep. So Gabe Kelly. And
Gabe Kelly. Awesome.
yep,
Thank you.
at the very end of this presentation, we have a map. No matter what state you're in, we have what we call relationship managers who cover those states. And so you'll get their name and number from that standpoint too. So we will provide that to you all at the end. Okay. Susan, did you have a question? Okay, perfect. And I know we talked a lot about churches, but same thing with if you have contacts, police, fire, municipality, government, hospitals, we play in all those spaces too. So any of those where you've got relationships, whether we have our current vendor on their plan or not, we certainly can work in and help those employees from that aspect. Okay. So
I'm sorry, just a quick question. I'm sorry. This is Kirby Brin out of Tennessee. I noticed you had government hospitals for VA, well, government hospitals for 457B. So as a veteran myself, I assume that's also for the VA facility.
You said that for the VA?
Yeah, for the VA hospitals, would that apply? I think it would.
It would. That's more on the federal level, right? So you have different levels of government, right? And that's knowing some of these nuances, right? Police, fire, water departments, hospitals, they roll up to the city, the county, the state, the federal level.
Okay.
Right. So it's knowing, what they're part of or how they're structured or how they were set up originally in a particular state. But we can certainly help you navigate that from that standpoint. I cover Tennessee, so you'll have my information. We can certainly talk further about that.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So here are the contribution limits. Okay. And I'll kind of start with the middle section for you, the kind of the lighter green. So in a 403B and 457, an employee is allowed to put away $19,500 annually. That's the contribution limit. If they're over 50, the IRS allows them to put in additional amount. That's what you see right below that catch-up contract. They can actually put in an additional $6,500. So someone who's over 50 could put in about $26,000 into a 403B or 457 plan. Okay. Now, I know what you're thinking, and I mentioned it, right? Teachers, we know, aren't the most well compensated. And so I get this a lot. You know, Jacob, that there's no way a teacher is going to be able to make 19.5 or even 26 if they're older. Be careful with that, right? Because, and we see this, if you just start and assume they can maybe only do $100 because you look at their paycheck and they are a brand new teacher and they're making $28,000, $32,000, and you just assume, you know, they can only afford 100, be careful, right? Here's why. You don't know what their significant other is. You don't know their situation outside of this. Teaching, especially teaching, for a lot of people is a profession of joy and giving back, right? They're not necessarily doing it for the pay per se. But you don't know what their significant other does. Maybe they have their own business. Maybe they're very well compensated in what they do. And this person does this because it's their passion. That's what they love to do. They want to educate our younger generation and make a difference. And so, yeah, they may be only making 28 or 32, but they could potentially put that whole thing away because of their significant other. Okay. And believe it or not, Gabe and I see this more times than not. So as an agent, just don't look at that paycheck amount and go, wow, they're only making X amount a year, especially starting out. Get to know them. Understand their full financial. It will surprise you. I'm not saying it happens every time, but it will surprise you that you'll sit down with somebody and they'll put away $500, $600, $700 a month out of their paycheck because of their personal situation. Okay. So best practice is know these rules and let them know this is the max they can do. Better to start high and have them take you down than start low, because it goes back to what we talked about with education. They don't know all this. They don't understand it. You sit down with them and you start talking to them about $50, $100 a paycheck. They think, okay, you're the expert. That's what I'm going to do based on what you're telling me, based on you being the expert in this field. So better, again, start high, let them know what they can put away and kind of dial it back instead of 100 and trying to go up higher. Okay. The good news is for a 403B and 457, and we talked about how schools can offer both. If a school offers both a 403B and a 457, an employee in that 403B could max out at 19.5. They could also put another 19.5 in the 457. So they can contribute and max out to both if their plan offers both. And again, that's colleges, universities, schools. Okay. Again, that's, what is that? That's 39,000, right? Think about not just the teachers, but administrative staff also are eligible for 403B, 457s. Superintendent, assistant superintendent. We've got all the administration staff. A lot of those are more tenured and senior and have a higher income. If they offer both, there's an opportunity. Again, sit down with them. You know what? Because your plan allows both 403B and 457, if we want to max, we can max you out on the 403B, but you can also put even more away because you also have that 457 available to you because of your plan. Okay. So take advantage of it and really think about that. If you work in the school markets, again, college, university, doesn't matter. They can offer both. Again, add value, something to think about. You're in a school, they only have a 403B. Maybe you talk to them about the 457. Hey, by the way, did you know that you can also offer a 457? It's a great way to increase contributions potentially for those who are maxing out on the 403B. But there's subtle differences between the two. And some people may gravitate to wanting to put money away more in a 457 than a 403B. They can just amend their plan document. Again, we talked about the plan document, the who, what, when, where, how. If they don't offer the 457, they can amend it. It's pretty easy. They amend it, put in that they want to start offering 457s, work with that third-party administrator. Now they can offer 57. You've added value. You've differentiated yourself potentially from others who've walked in there. I got a couple notices for some hand raise. I'll pause and take some questions.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, my question is, for those that you just mentioned that might be eligible for both kinds of plans, can they also double dip on the 6,500 catch-up provision?
That is only, Gabe, keep me honest, I believe that's only in one plan. I don't think they can do it in both. Is that right, Gabe? Or can they do it in both? I can't remember. I apologize. I believe it's in only one plan, but let me find out. Well, we're going to take a break here in a few minutes. So I will find that out and I'll answer that. I apologize for escaping, but I believe it's only one plan.
Sure, no problem. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Other questions?
So just a quick question. So the synopsis of what we're doing is just truly offering an alternative to the state pension plan and getting them to put their money into a 403B, which actually is an annuity with National Life Group.
For us, yes. Yep. So the product.
Awesome.
Yep.
Quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, on the screen, the slide you have in the green shade, it does say that the 403B and the 457B, that they both have the deferral contribution of 19.5 and the 6,500 catch up for the age over 50. I also see in the footnotes that it says it's 37.5 of employer contribution if the plan allows. And then I also wanted to get clarification. What is the main difference between the 403B and the 457B?
Great question. So I'll go to the footnote of the 37.5. So we talked about how an employer could contribute to these plans. It's very rare and infrequent. But if they do, that's what that footnote is. That's the most an employer could contribute to the 403B plan. Okay. So that's the cap on that. As far as differences, 403B, 407, we'll cover those actually as we go through the rest of this section. You'll start to see the difference, and I'll point out the difference of what a 403B has that's different from a 457 and vice versa. So we'll cover those.
I'd like a clarification, please.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Hello?
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So I just want to understand. So really the 403B is not really, it's in addition to a pension, right? You're not putting money into a pension, right? So this would be in addition to the pension, correct?
Right. So as an employee of, let's say, a school district, right, I'm eligible for the state's pension plan.
Yeah.
So I'm contributing to that, right?
Yeah.
That's out of my control. So this allows them, and this is an option that schools and what you saw, hospitals, churches have to be able to save for retirement.
Okay. So here's a basic question. So as an employee of a school and you're in the pension, are you paying into the pension plan, or is that just being funded as you continue through your career?
No, a lot of them now, they're putting money into the pension.
So that money that they're putting into the pension plan could actually be reduced and put into a 403B.
No, they can't change that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did you say I'm talking about the employee?
Correct. Yep, the employee is paying into the state pension, like in Texas, right? TRS, an employee in a school district is putting 7% of their paycheck away to the state pension. They cannot change.
You know the rules for New York by any chance?
I don't. No.
Okay. Last question. It doesn't necessarily have to be an annuity. It can be a brokerage account too, can it?
No. So only in a 403B, 457, the only things they can invest in is annuities or custodial accounts, which are mutual funds.
That's what I meant. Okay. So yeah. Okay.
Right. So we don't offer mutual funds. Other vendors in their plan may, but what we offer when we're part of the platform is our fixed index annuities.
Yeah. Okay. So in New York, we can't sell the fixed indexed.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'm looking at your slide here, and in the green area again, it says traditional pre-tax above, and then a Roths. You cannot add the 19.5 contribution. They have to stay with the Roth limitations, don't they? The 6,000 or 7,000.
Great question. No. So what that is, right? So a 403B and a 457 can offer two type of things. They can offer a traditional, I'll go just do 403B. There can be a traditional 403B. There can be a Roth 403B, okay? A plan can offer both. Traditional is pre-tax, right? Money coming out before tax, going into vehicle, growing tax-free. So offer Roth, they could do a Roth 403B, which is after-tax money, right? Going in tax deferred, and if met the criteria, comes out tax-free. A Roth 403B, for those who, and this is, I think, what you're getting at, that's a 403B, not an IRA, right? So whether it's traditional or Roth, the vehicle's the 403B, which means they can put 19.5 in, and if they're over 50, an additional 6,500.
Wow.
Okay, so again, another great ad for you guys is if you're working with a plan and they only offer a traditional 403B or 457, they can amend their plan document to add a Roth. And I will tell you, studies have shown most millennials, and that they're now the biggest generation in our workforce, prefer Roth as an investment option. So sitting
What
down.
about a Roth 401k? Is it to those limits as well, or to the lower?
I can't speak to a 401k. We're simply talking 403B, 457. There may be differences from that. So I can't speak to that. I can tell you from a 403B, Roth, because it's a 403B, the Roth and traditional are just the way it's taxed, right? Is it taxed before or after? Okay. I think there's a couple other questions.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, this is Paula in Texas. I just want to piggyback on the question about the Roth 403B. On the traditional, the teacher would get the tax credit. Is there a tax credit given on the Roth since you are paying the taxes beforehand? So is there an advantage there for them?
No. So the Roth is, you're not reducing it from your taxable income today, but it is growing tax deferred and can come out tax free, right? So with the traditional, you're saving taxes today, but we all know, right, there's two guarantees in life, death and taxes, right? So in a traditional, you're saving and you're not paying taxes today, but you're going to pay taxes when you take that money out. A Roth is just reverse that. I pay taxes today, and there's a couple criteria. As long as I meet those, I can take the money out tax free at the end. So it's reversed of what a traditional is. So no, there's no tax saving today. The tax saving is in the future.
I have a question. Can 403Bs be offered for federal government agencies, or is it just state and below?
Well, anytime you talk municipalities or government, it's 457s.
How about federal government agencies?
Depends on the one, but yes, they usually will offer a 457.
You know, I think I missed this, and I think I'm sure you probably covered it. But if somebody is in a current plan, can they roll into this and continue flow?
We'll cover that. Yes, they can. I'll cover that here in a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So those are the contributions. Okay. And again, best practice, know what they can max out at. And then there. Okay. Now, how do they actually?
Hey, Jacob, I think you may have one more hand. I think James has been waiting for us.
Oh, James, did you have a question, or did you get the chance to ask yours?
If you're talking about this, James, I do not have a question. Mine was answered long ago. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, perfect. Well, if another James out there has a question, feel free to stop me. All right. So we just talked about how much they can put away. How do they go about doing it? And that's, again, right, the money's got to come out of their paycheck, right? So the way they do that is through a salary reduction agreement. We call it SRA. We love our acronyms, okay? You'll see, and in your packet, again, one of the things you got is National Life's salary reduction agreement. We have our own, okay? When you start working with a plan, this actually is one of the things you'll want to find out is what is their process from a salary reduction standpoint to pull money out into the 403B or 457. Okay, because a lot of plans will have their own form, and it could be a hard copy form, it could be electronic. Some are agnostic and don't care, which is why we provide ours, because if they don't care, you could certainly use ours and turn it in. Okay, but this basically spells out, here's the employee who wants to start saving with National Life Group. Here's how much they want to take out of their paycheck, when they want to start, and that goes to payroll for processing. And that's when money starts coming out of their paycheck. Okay, so this is kind of that second step along with the application, right? When they sit down and say, yes, I want to go with you. I like what I hear about National Life Group. Not only do you have to do the application and send that to us, make sure you do the salary reduction agreement. I can't tell you, we have some agents who forget about that, and we've got this policy sitting there just waiting for money to come in, and we follow up and there's no salary reduction that's been turned in. Okay, so this form is essential to have that money come out. Best practice, and you see it, it's in bold, you should own this. Okay, don't let the employee, because here's why, and I'll use a teacher for example, right? You sit down with a teacher, she likes what she hears, she says yes, and we know that's not a quick process, right? In multiple meetings, you get her to sign the paperwork and she's like, oh, you know what, I know Betty in payroll is to her. How high do you think that is on her priority list, right? She's a teacher, she's probably got to build curriculum, parent-teacher conference, grade some papers. I mean, it falls 15th to 20th down the list. Compared to you, right, you're going to make sure that gets turned in a timely manner and money start coming out of the paycheck, okay? So best practice, turn that in. The really nice part is a lot of the bigger plans out there use a third-party administrator. They use a TPA. A lot of the TPAs have gone to electronic salary reduction agreements, which is fantastic. So you and the employee can go online, fill it out, technology, it starts automatically pulling money out that next pay cycle for them into their national life policy, okay? So that's really nice. In this environment, right, if they have a paper, here's what we're hearing. You want to reach out to the payroll person and let them know you've been working with some of the employees, you've got some salary reduction agreements. A lot of times in this environment, because again, they're probably not in the office either processing, they're working remote, they'll accept an email, fax, scanned copy of the salary reduction, and then you may have to mail the hard copy in after the fact, okay? So even if it's paper, don't let that deter you, okay? If you meet with an employee, they sign it, they're ready to go, make sure you know, and the way you do that, and Gabe will show you a great video, connect with that payroll person and find out. And most of them, based on Gabe and my conversation with a lot of our plans that we work with, many of them are amenable because of what we're in right now to accept some sort of scanned or fax copy with you, okay? So make sure you take a look at that. I believe the one that we've included also is filled out to kind of make sure it's filled out properly and you guys are comfortable with it, okay? So make sure when you start working with your plans, one of the first things you want to find out is, what is the process to start contributions? What does that salary reduction process look like, okay?
So real quick, just to end with the TPA.
Yes.
If we do get through the gatekeeper and we do get through the heads that be, we don't need to disclose anything to the TPAs other than payroll deduction. I mean, they're not another level of getting through the system, are they?
No, you're correct. No, you'll really want to deal, and you'll see this later with Gabe. You're going to deal mostly with the plan or the school or municipality, whoever whatever area you're working with. Those TPAs more helping them administer and do the day-to-day activity in their plans. You will work with them occasionally when it comes like loans and hardships for your employees, but when it comes to this, no. But if they do, I mean, if you know the TPA has an electronic SRA process, it's good to go on their website and get a feel for their website, because again, this may be an employee who's new to this, they don't understand it, they're looking for you. So if you know TSA, MBS, TCG, TDS, whoever it might be, is their TPA, you going on beforehand and at their website and getting familiar with it will make it that much quicker to get that SRA set up. Okay.
Okay.
So along with the initial flow, one of the things we also encourage is, making these long-term clients, right? And so setting up that plan, we know life is dynamic, things can change. And so getting back with them on a routine basis, at least an annual review, right? And reevaluating everything. Maybe they had to start low with a certain amount and knew they needed to increase over time. Getting back with them to remind them of that, talk through it. Is there a chance to increase? We encourage that. And one of the ways we do it is with our premium increase program called PIP. And that is basically increasing existing flow into these policies, right? So taking it from 100 to 150 to 200. You do that, you can see the three bubbles. You get a base renewal commission, a bonus commission, and incentive credits if eligible, okay? So we want to incentivize you for making these long-term clients, navigating them, increasing their retirement over time through our PIP program, okay? So just another program out there to be aware of. So with that, we're coming up about 3:12. I'm going to take a break. We'll get into moving money and some of the other nuances of 403B. So we'll take about a 10-minute break. So we'll start back up about 22, 23 after. So stretch your legs, grab some food, some drink, and we will certainly be back in about 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.